You walk into Walmart at 7:15 on a cold Saturday morning, and you notice them immediately. Plain clothes, quiet voices, a man with suspenders loading an entire cart with items most people ignore completely. Salt, matches, vinegar, bar soap, cheap things. The kind of items modern shoppers pass without even slowing down. Nothing in the cart costs more than $5. But what you are really looking at is not a shopping trip. You are looking at a survival system. The Amish have survived depressions, fuel shortages, supply chain collapses, blizzards, crop failures, and inflation spikes for more than 300 years because they understand something modern America forgot. Expensive technology fails. Simple systems endure. And the strangest part is this. Most of the items they depend on are sitting on Walmart shelves right now for less than the price of a fast food meal. I realized this standing in the basement pantry of an Amish farmhouse outside Holmes County, Ohio. Floor-to-ceiling shelves lined with jars, candles, salt buckets, bars of soap wrapped in paper, and enough dry goods to feed a family through an entire winter without leaving the property once. The man who owned the house was named Eli. He was 79 years old, and he told me something I have not been able to forget since. He said, "The world only feels unstable to people who depend on it staying stable." That sentence explains everything you are about to hear. The Amish are not prepping for disaster. They simply never stopped living the way Americans used to live before convenience replaced resilience. Tonight, I'm going to show you 11 survival items the Amish buy in bulk at Walmart. Every single one costs under $5. Every single one serves multiple purposes. And one of these items, the last one on this list, helped Amish families survive respiratory epidemics long before modern pharmacies existed. Let's start with the item that appeared more than anything else in Eli's basement. Plain white salt, the cheap blue cylinder sitting on the bottom shelf at Walmart for around $1 and change. Eli had over 40 containers stacked beside jars of preserved pork and pickled vegetables. When I asked why anyone needed that much salt, he looked genuinely confused by the question. Because to the Amish, salt is not seasoning. Salt is infrastructure. Before refrigeration became common in rural America, salt preserved meat through entire winters. A heavily salted pork shoulder stored in a cool cellar could feed a family months later with no electricity involved. Salt also preserves cabbage into sauerkraut, disinfects surfaces, helps clean wounds, and even extends the life of homemade butter. One cheap container replaces part of a freezer, part of a medicine cabinet, and part of a grocery store. The second item is white vinegar. Walmart sells gallon jugs for a few dollars, and Amish families buy them by the case. Eli's wife kept vinegar under sinks, in the pantry, beside laundry tubs, and even near the garden shed, because vinegar cleans almost everything. Windows, floors, cuts, rust, mold, mineral buildup, garden weeds, food preservation jars, even laundry. A Cornell agricultural study from the 1970s found that standard household vinegar kills a huge percentage of common bacteria. The Amish figured that out long before researchers wrote papers about it, and unlike expensive cleaners filled with chemicals and expiration dates, vinegar stores for years without going bad. The third item is baking soda. The small orange box most people only use once every few months. The Amish use it constantly. They brush teeth with it, remove odors, extinguish grease fires, clean cookware, relieve insect bites, bake bread, wash dishes. One item. 6 jobs. Under $1. That is the pattern you begin noticing in every Amish pantry. Nothing exists for one purpose only. Modern America buys specialized products for every tiny problem. The Amish buy simple materials that solve dozens of problems at once. That difference matters more than people realize. The fourth item is emergency candles. Not scented candles, not decorative candles. Plain utility candles in bulk boxes for under $5. When I visited Eli during the winter, his wife Mary showed me wooden crates holding hundreds of them. She said something that stayed with me afterward. She said, "Darkness comes eventually to every house. The Amish understand that light is not luxury, it is security. A single candle provides light, warmth, comfort, and stability during outages. 3 candles inside a closed room can slightly raise the temperature during freezing weather. It will not heat a house, but it can absolutely help keep a small room livable during emergencies." The Amish pair candles with another strategy modern homeowners almost never use anymore. Closing rooms. They do not waste heat. warming empty spaces. In winter, entire sections of the house may remain closed off while the family lives mainly in the kitchen and nearby rooms. The result is dramatically lower heating costs and far less dependence on fuel. The Department of Energy confirmed years ago that reducing heated living space significantly lowers energy consumption. The Amish figured that out generations before the study existed. The fifth item is wool blankets. Walmart sells inexpensive fleece and wool blend blankets under $5 during seasonal sales, and Amish families stack them everywhere. Beds, wagons, storage chests, closets, because blankets are portable insulation. An Amish bedroom at night is often much colder than a modern suburban bedroom. But layered blankets trap heat far more efficiently than overheating an entire house. Eli told me his father used to say, "Heat the body, not the air." That single mindset saves enormous amounts of fuel. The sixth item is matches. Wooden strike matches. Cheap, lightweight, easy to ignore. Eli had thousands. Not dozens, thousands. He told me about the ice storm of 1978, when neighboring families lost electricity for over a week and quickly ran out of fire starters. His family never worried because they treated matches like long-term infrastructure instead of disposable convenience items. A single box costs almost nothing, lasts for years if stored dry, and can light stoves, candles, lanterns, fireplaces, and outdoor cook fires. Modern people assume stores will always restock tomorrow. The Amish shop as if tomorrow might not come. The seventh item is bar soap. Plain bars. Usually the cheapest ones Walmart carries. The Amish avoid liquid soap whenever possible because liquid soap expires faster, leaks, wastes packaging, and costs significantly more over time. Bar soap stores almost indefinitely if kept dry. One Amish woman told me she buys enough bars every winter to last her family 2 full years. Think about how unusual that sounds to modern ears. Most Americans cannot even imagine storing 2 years of anything. The Amish consider it normal, and that difference is exactly why shortages affect them differently than everyone else. The eighth item is canning lids. Tiny metal lids with rubber seals. Cheap enough most shoppers barely notice them. But during the canning shortages of 2020, those same lids became almost impossible to find in many states. Amish families barely noticed. Why? Because they buy them years ahead of time. The jars get reused endlessly. The rings last decades, but lids wear out. So Amish households stockpile them continuously whenever prices are low and shelves are full. That way of thinking changes everything. Modern consumers buy what they need today. The Amish buy what they know they will need eventually. The ninth item is cotton twine. Simple string, usually hanging somewhere in Walmart's hardware section for a couple dollars, and yet Amish families use it for nearly everything. Drying herbs, repairing clothing, bundling firewood, hanging food, tying garden plants, securing packages, replacing broken drawstrings. One roll can solve dozens of small problems inside a household. That is another lesson modern culture lost. Tiny practical items matter more than flashy expensive ones during hard times. The 10th item is honey. Real honey. Not candy syrup pretending to be honey, but actual raw or pure honey whenever they can find it cheaply. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found jars thousands of years old that remained edible. Amish families use it for food, sore throats, wound care, baking, and preserving herbs. An elderly Amish woman near Berlin, Ohio, told me her mother treated winter coughs with hot water, honey, and onion syrup long before pharmacies existed nearby. She laughed when I asked if it worked. She said, "Well, we survived." But the 11th item is the one almost nobody sees coming, and it is not technically bought at Walmart at all because it grows wild. Mullein, the tall, fuzzy leaf plant growing along roadsides and fence lines across America. Most people think it is just another weed. The Amish treat it like medicine storage growing straight out of the ground. I first learned about this from an Amish widow named Ruth, who kept dried bundles hanging beside her pantry shelves. She explained that her mother harvested mullein every late summer and dried the leaves in the attic before winter arrived. When I asked why, she pulled down an old handwritten family notebook dating back generations. Inside were instructions for mullein tea and warm chest poultices used during respiratory illness. For hundreds of years, Amish and Mennonite families used mullein for coughs, congestion, bronchial irritation, and winter sickness. Modern herbal research later confirmed that mullein contains compounds that may help soothe respiratory inflammation and loosen mucus. Now, obviously, it is not a miracle cure, and it should never replace proper medical treatment for serious illness. But the larger point matters. The Amish never assumed survival depended entirely on stores, pharmacies, or outside systems. They learned to combine purchased goods with practical knowledge and local resources. That combination made them resilient, and that resilience is what most people are actually searching for today. Not fear, not panic, not bunkers. Just the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your family could handle disruption without collapsing emotionally or financially. That is what those Walmart carts really represent. Not poverty, not paranoia, preparation. The man buying 40 containers of salt and boxes of matches is not behind the times. In many ways, he may understand the future better than the rest of us do, because modern systems are fragile. Supply chains fail, prices rise, shelves empty, storms hit, power goes out. And when those things happen, simple households built around practical habits suffer far less than households built entirely around convenience. Now I want to ask you something. Of all 11 items on this list, which one surprised you the most? Was it the salt, the vinegar, the canning lids, the honey, or the mullein growing wild behind thousands of homes completely unnoticed? Tell me in the comments below, because I read every one of them. And if you enjoy learning about the forgotten systems that allowed ordinary families to survive hard winters, shortages, and uncertainty long before modern technology existed, subscribe to the channel. The next video goes even deeper. I found an 1891 Pennsylvania farming journal describing 7 Amish foods that stay edible for over a year without refrigeration, including one pantry item that cost less than $3 to make but fed an entire family through the winter of 1893, after a crop failure wiped out most of the county. Almost nobody remembers how to make it anymore. But in the next video, you will. The Amish were never trying to predict disaster. They were simply building lives strong enough to survive one.